of kings.
Hello there, Richard, the Dick Coughlan, 666. How are you?
Richard the Coughlan, 666. How are you?
Richard loves a lot of lick up his ass, colon.
What a prick. Hello, Richard the Coughlan here. Hi there, Richard the Coughlan, 666. How are you?
Richard the Coughlan, 666. How are you?
It's Richard Coughlan! We put this festival on you bastards with a lot of love. We work for 1 year for you pigs. And you want to break our walls now? And you want to destroy us? Well, you get up.
Hi folks, Dick Coughlan here. Now if you're watching this video and immediately disappointed and you're sat there thinking, okay, where's, you showed us all this fancy equipment the other day, you showed us that you were going to be basically making, you know, your videos were going to basically be like each video, YouTube video would be basically like Avatar, where the fuck is it? It's you know, give me time, okay? Please, wait. I'm going to have to learn how to use this shit, and I'm not really good at that. I'm great at like doing stuff once I know how to do it, but if I can't do something that I haven't, if I'm learning to do something and I can't figure out how to do it almost instantly, you know, it's very hard for me to be bothered. So that might just, this stuff might all just sit here for the rest of the time. But this is going to be the first in a new video series, and these videos are going to be very short. And the reason I'm doing them as a series rather than as one big video is because this video would literally be, this would be like the director's cut of Ben-Hur. Right, with double footage, with all the added footage, and Gone with the Wind playing as the opening short. It would be enormous. It would be impossible for me to actually fucking manage it. It would drive me mad, and I would lose interest. So I figured, rather than do the whole thing, I'm going to do this bit in one bit at a time, and I can break it down very easily, because I'm going to be responding to a very sort of this is a within Holocaust denial circles, and you know, I do mix amongst them under my fake identities. I am actually I've actually got an account on Stormfront where when I do go on the forums, I go there under the assumed identity of an Irish white nationalist called Gene O'Side. Totally serious. I tried to join Ningmania.net forum about a month ago, and I'm not joking. I went there and I signed up under the username Don N. Kruger, and they wrote back to me saying this username is not acceptable and we will not allow it. Please change it and then we will approve your account. And I'm like, of all the websites in the world that you would least expect to have a problem or be sensitive about any username would be Ningmania.net. But apparently they are. Apparently they're a little bit snowflakey. And, okay, so yeah, that was Don N. Kruger. Yeah. You know, Ray Paul Sheboons 44, he's on there. That's fine, you know. Minced up Tar Baby Smoothie, he's on there. That's fine. Don N. Kruger, which could legitimately be my name. Right, anyway. This is a piece of Holocaust denial propaganda produced by various different people. It's circulated around. The one I found was a PDF document, and it was produced by an organisation who, I won't go into detail, but they're called Creativity. There's several movements. There's the Church of Creativity, Creativity Movement, and just Creativity. They are actually a religious organisation. Technically, they are a registered official religious group who base their entire religious beliefs on white supremacy. That's it, you know, and it's entirely atheist as well. Yeah, how'd you like that one? It's an atheist neo-Nazi church. That you cannot. They've got Bibles you can download. I've read the White Man's Bible, right? I'm not joking. They've got newsletters, they've got their commandments, they've got all the shit you need. That's it. But they produced and shared, or at least were responsible for distributing, this very well-known piece of propaganda horseshit called 66 Questions and Answers on the Holocaust. This was also published by the Institution for Historical Review, which sounds like a rather sort of, well, it sounds like a very official and poncy and, you know, stick up your ass kind of organisation. No, it's just Holocaust deniers. You know, the Institute for Historical Review is just the Institute for Holocaust Revisionism. So yes, it was a publication they produced. So it was a collab effort. You know, everyone worked on this one. You know, they all got together, pulled in their resources. So I'm going to do one question per video. I'm going to do one video, one question. Right? Because I want to do this as a series. Don't worry, if you're on my Patreon, you will not be charged for all of them. I'll charge you, tell you what, I'll charge you for the first one, this one, and then I won't charge you for the next 65. How's that sound? And I'm doing it that way because I'd like to have a reason to make a video every day, or at least every other day. And this is it. So this is going to be my new series running for the next 2 months or so. It's called I've got 66 pogroms and Auschwitz ain't one. And today I'm going to be responding to question 1. Now, some of these answers I will actually be making the effort to research and to refute with facts and data. But I don't really think that's too necessary. Let's face it, if you're watching this and you're already on board with this shit, I ain't going to change your mind no matter what. Look at me. I literally look like I'm sat in a fucking, you know, in a little wooden hut on one of the concentration camps right now. I look like I'm wearing just casual. It's the summer thing. I've taken me a... Yeah, I've stretched it out a bit. Yeah, I'm looking good. You know, a bit pasty, but that's cool. Now, so I'm going to do question 1. Now, question one is a bit of a weird one, but it kind of sets you up. Now, like every Nazi piece of, everything that Nazis have ever written or produced, it really doesn't need to be anywhere near as long as it is. And it's questions like this that really, if you're someone who has a basic understanding of logic, you know, and logical fallacies and good argumentation and burdens of proof and all that gay, left-wing and transgendered shit, then you will know what the problem with this very first question is. You ready? Question number 1. What proof exists that the Nazis killed 6 million Jews? Can you spot the problem here with that first question? What proof exists that something these guys claim didn't happen, happened? Well, you're not going to believe this. I'll go through the entire answer, but the first sentence, technically, he says, the answer is none. Which, of course, there wouldn't be, would there? I mean, you're not going to sort of have... what proof could you have? If I could sit here and say, for all you know, I have been killing Jews non-stop in this very room since I moved in. Right, but no one's known it, no one's seen it. I haven't kept any documents, I didn't give any official orders. I'm not even doing it for any kind of, political or sociological or religious reason. I'm just doing it for the lulz, The lulz, yo. Right, so none. He then goes on. All we have is post-war testimony, mostly of individual survivors. There is so much wrong with that sentence. All we have is post-war testimony, as opposed to whenever. When else? At what other point during the timeline of mankind's existence could they have possibly gotten testimony about what was going on inside these death camps that nobody knew about until the fucking mid-40s? When else? Do you know what would be really weird? Post-war testimony is not weird. What would be weird? Pre-war testimony. Right? Premonitions, spoilers, predictions. Right? A fucking article on What Mojo. Five Jewish predictions for the next... or if there was like a gamblers that were putting bets on it, that would be... Or even more suspicious, during, in-war testimony. That would be fucking weird. How would that work? What are they going to do? Sit there? What are they going to do? Sit there, be brushing their hair? Got to be BuzzFeed's coming over. Apparently, I've shot up on the top 10 of the most notorious on JewWatch.com. I am above. I'm just getting up to Netanyahu levels. I know. Yeah. What are they going to do? I've been featured on a blog. Well, of course It's like, of course, it's post-war testimony. What are they supposed to have done? Giving you fucking... Are they supposed to have done a daily vlog like Casey Neistat? Right? Again, post-war testimony, mostly of individual survivors. What do you mean mostly? Of individual survivors. How many... Okay, what other percentage or what other sort of number of testimonies would you expect from how many specifically... non-individual people who survived, and he put survivors in air quotes, right? As if to say, but I know what you mean, because he claims this didn't happen, but it looks like he's going, oh yeah, survivor, yeah, survived, did you? Yeah, I don't think so, Sunshine. I have it on good authority, you died 4 years ago. Right? And you just won't let it go. You're hogging the limelight. Individual survivors, as opposed to all the Siamese twins that were fucking there. Individual survivors, as opposed to people who sat there and gave joint testimony because they were holding hands the whole time. The only person, and mostly, obviously mostly, unless you're going to hold a seance and get the corpses there. What? I love the fact that when else could you do it? Right? So these individuals, are they going to be... I mean, imagine if they gave testimony just to people who were there. You wouldn't need to, and it would seem a little bit unnecessary. If I'm in a fucking Nazi extermination camp, the last fucking thing I need is fucking David Attenborough over here giving me a running commentary. He goes on, this testimony is contradictory. He doesn't explain why. I mean, obviously, that's not important. The fact is they're contradictory. What he means by that is... there are sort of issues of minor, minuscule details. For example, Ishmael over here, he swears that in the camp where they had to go underground to the gas chamber, he swears blind there were 13 steps on the way down. Right? But Shylock over here, he says there were only 12. Right? And in these guys' minds, they're like, there you go. Obviously, none of it happened. Because if two people if there are two inconsistent accounts in any kind of microscopic detail, out of the 6 million people that could have given it, if there's one inconsistency, then obviously the whole thing's fucking bollocks. It's the OJ trial all over again. You've got to throw it out. Right? They ignore the fact that regardless of how many steps there were, the steps were there and they did go downwards. The fact that these guys didn't count them specifically, maybe they had other things on their mind. He goes on, and very few claim to have actually witnessed gassing. Yeah, do you know why very few claim to witness it? Because it wasn't exactly a kind of spectator sport that they wouldn't have had, okay, we've got a new gas in today, boys, it's going to be a big game going on, there's 20 people selected, we've got the numbers, hey, fucking Jacob, he's taking bets, he's got, yeah, I'm telling you, man, I fancy old Horowitz, mate. He's been practicing. He's ready to go. He's going to be the last one to drop. And they didn't all sit there around in theatre with their night vision goggles on, sat there going, "Come on, oh, Zyklon B, Zyklon." They're not doing that. Of course, it wasn't very witnessed the gassing. They didn't exactly say, "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we will be gassing all of you at some point, but today we'll be selecting 20 people. Please open the chocolate bars and sign if you've got the golden ticket." They just noticed people were disappearing. They didn't ask questions. I don't think the Holocaust had an atmosphere that was one that sort of encouraged people to be inquisitive or to ask too many questions. They just kind of sat there and shut the fuck up, lost a lot of weight and died. And they didn't sit there talking about it. Did you see last night's gassing? Oh, it was a fucking disgrace. The problem is when with old Moskowitz there, when he was getting gas, he thought he could just take one big gulp. He didn't let it out slowly. He just breathed. It's a fucking disgrace, mate. Anyway, of course I didn't witness it. Idiot. There are no contemporaneous documents or hard evidence. Right, well, the camps exist, that's one. There are chambers and crematoriums have been found, which is kind of weird when you think that these are in the middle of fields. What else did they find? Oh yeah, they found all of these. Really thin people, riddled with typhoid, covered in infected with gnats and fucking ticks and all this other shit, who looked a little bit on the. They looked a bit peckish, and all of them had very, very specific names that ended in its and ots and wits and woo, and. Not only that, there were a lot of them there, and and they were all wearing stripy pyjamas. I don't think it was a Bananas and Pyjamas cosplay event. They were all there, and they looked thoroughly pissed off about it, quite frankly. And then they found about 2,000 more of these camps scattered all over the countries in Europe that the Nazis had occupied. And unless it's some kind of massive sort of weird transcendent cult like Jonestown or something, I don't think I think that's hard evidence. I think someone who was there is hard evidence. I think a photograph with a horse pulling along behind it a big wooden cart that's got piles of bodies in it. I think a dead baby floating in a puddle of water. That's evidence for me. You know, what did someone do? Any of that? Was that a Cabbage Patch doll that someone's photoshopped? And contemporaneous documents. That must be contemporaneous documents. That must be why Alex Jones does not question the Holocaust. Because there's no documents. There's no documents. Because the Nazis never wrote anything down. One thing about Germans, particularly fascist Germans, you know, particularly the far-right fascist neo-Nazi Germans, they weren't really too fussed about paperwork. You know, they were very relaxed, cavalier kind of guys. They didn't give a shit. They weren't all about rules and regulations. Just, you know, chill, man. They're like David Brent. You know, no mounds of ashes. Why would there be? Okay, most of the ashes, a lot of it, are soaked into the mud. Because, you know, ashes is dust in it. It tends to sort of, I don't know, blow around. And I don't know about you, but when you've got all this ash sitting there, why would you keep it in a mound? For what purpose? Are you going to build? What, are you just building a big mound? Is that your thing? What are you going to try and do? Sell this off and fucking like people sell off bits of the Berlin Wall or moon rock? What are you going to do with it? It's mounds of ashes. You know, it's mounds full of ashes. From 1945, right? You idiot. No mounds of ashes. He expected 6 million people's worth of ashes just piled up. So we could run through it and do a big fucking faceplant. No crematories capable of disposing of millions of corpses. Yes, there were no individual crematories. That is true. Capable of disposing of millions of bodies. That is true as well. Right, there are no crematories. There is no specific one crematorium, but there were. They did well enough. They managed to fucking, you know, the thing about the Nazis is they're very efficient and resourceful people, and they I think once you've started a mass extermination of an entire group of people, once you've decided to commit genocide, and you've already started, you're not going to let a little thing like fucking hell, the ovens ain't big enough. You're going to find a way. You know, death will find a way. You're going to find some way. You're going to think, it's like, well, we have to cancel. We don't have enough. The crematoriums, we've worked out it will take us 47 more years to dispose of it. It's like 9. What we will do, I don't know. We will catapult them into space. You know, that's what do you mean? They'll figure something out. No human soup. Okay, that is a fucking, one of those twisted stories that apparently one prank that the Nazis like to play on new people who came in, you know, as a sort of bit of, you know, just a bit of ribbing. What they like to do, they like to really properly haze them by giving them like a cup of water that had bones from a Jewish person who'd been exterminated. That was their little joke. I know, banter, right? I mean, fucking hell. Here, there's one for Count Dankula. Do that one, mate. Make your girlfriend a Jew bone soup. She will love it. It's kosher, yeah. No lampshades made of human skin. This is true. That was not true, yes. But again, the fact there isn't a lampshade made out of fucking Rabbi Ishmael does not mean that the rest of it didn't happen. Again, the lampshade thing, that was actually something that started in World War I. It was a piece of French propaganda that the French started against the Germans in World War I. And it just carried on. It wasn't actually started by the Jews. That's a lie. So, no credible demographic statistics. None. Absolutely no credible demographic statistics. Of course, when you are a Holocaust denier, no credible demographics would be ones that actually show the numbers of deaths. And, yeah, considering this guy, I'd like to see this count 6 million. No credible demographic statistics. Yeah, funny in it how it's very hard to keep track of where have we put all our Jews. Right? Where have we put them all? Demographic statistics. Well, it depends where you look. In Poland, the reason most of the death camps were in Poland, not Germany, is because Poland had more Jews in its population than the rest of Europe combined. So the Nazis, being the clever kind of chaps they are, logical, they thought, hey, why don't we put them all in Poland, right? And then, if anyone comes to fucking Germany, they'll be like, we ain't got any fucking death camps. What's that? That's that over there. That's a Pontins. No. So there you go, folks. All of that's bollocks. Useless. And I would have gone through it like giving you evidence and links, but he hasn't given anything, so that which can be asserted without evidence can be refuted by a by a skinny white bloke who used to be a crackhead and wishes he still was, and for all he know, might well be. And that is the end of the first one. Fucking hell, 20 minutes on the first question. Thank God I didn't do this as one whole video. I'll be back with question 2 in another video, maybe tomorrow. This is Dick Coughlan, and this has been, I got one problem and an answer, and Auschwitz ain't one. Bye bye.
Good night. May God be less. Richard Dick Coughlan, 666. Good night. May God be less. May God be less.
Thank you very much. Take care. Good night.
May God be less. Richard Dick Coughlan, 666. Good night. May God be less. You might drop down dead tomorrow. You don't know. You might get hit by a car. Your head might explode.
I've got to be a